Okay, ready.
All right, the Cultural Commission meeting for October 28th, 2024 is called to order at 5:32 p.m. And I get roll call, please.
Chair Hernandez,
Present.
Crystal Fraser, sorry, Commissioner Fraser. Commissioner BA. Commissioner Damiana. Present. Commissioner Einberg. Here. Commissioner Brudnicki. Here. Commissioner Tozer.
We have quorum. I move to have Commissioner Fraser's, GA, and Tozer's absences excused for today. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Motion passes. And now the important staff announcement.
Approval of the agenda.
Oh, that's. We approve the agenda as is.
So.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Motion passes. Don't check the next thing. Now the stuff.
The only announcement we have is a suggestion for the commission that until the budget is passed by council, the commission goes a little dormant because your next 2 years of work is contained in the biennial art plan. And that gets adopted as part of the 2025-2026 city council budget. So until they pass a budget, outside of just completing the work that was the work of the commission for the last year, there's no new projects really, and so staff are recommending that you take the holidays off for November and December and reconvene January 13th, I think would be the second Monday.
Any discussion?
I think that's a great idea.
We're running dry, so that's fine. I'm totally okay with that as well. Then I move that we move our next meeting to, you said January 13th. January 13th. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Motion passes. That was an aye for me, by the way. And now, for the approval of minutes, I move that we approve the meeting minutes as is for the October 7th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Motion passes. And it does not look like we have public comment today, so we will finally go to old business and the artist update.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
No, give us just 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, try again.
Bless you. Bless me.
Hi, can you guys hear me now?
You guys are okay.
I can't hear that.
It's on our end, Brenda.
Okay. Okay, let me put my video on. Can you guys see me?
Yes.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is
Brenda, can you
Anna.
give us just 1 second?
Sure.
We're trying to get the speakers.
Okay.
That's through the TV right now.
Yeah. Which one is it supposed to be on? Oh, because it usually comes out there.
Yeah, see if you can turn it up just a smidge longer, higher, or I wouldn't mess with it. Just
Pump up the volume.
I can do that. Maybe.
all right, Brenda, will you try now?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, wonderful. Okay, well, hello. Thank you guys for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. Monday nights, I usually have a bi-weekly meeting at my place, so I'm here virtually, but thank you for having me.
And so Brenda, the agenda for tonight is just again an update on progress for the mural.
Yes, I'd love to share with you guys an update. Would it be best if I just share my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's see if we can do that. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
1 second. Let's make her a co-host.
Oh, okay, let me try now. Okay,
There we go.
please let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So I have an updated design here. This probably looks similar or familiar to you guys because I had previously the D already mocked up. So I went ahead and took some notes from the previous meeting of what we talked about with any updates, and I went ahead and applied those. Here I probably have, let me see if I can, yes. This is a more detailed image of what each letter has. And I can zoom in so you guys can see a little better.
Oh, it's so pretty, Brenda. It really
Thank
is.
you. Thank you so much. And I'm fully anticipating, more feedback for this to be changed, colors, anything, this is not the final design. So please send me all the feedback later on. But starting with the D, it's just the same design. It has the clock tower. We have Duvall grill in the background. And then the U, originally my mock-up had a different design of the novelty bridge, but I figured we can kind of play around with the design of the bridge, and then figured have sunflowers, the Duvall sign here at the corner. Then if we go to the V, would be the infamous piano drop. And then if we go to the A, this is the train depot. And then I do have questions about this train here. After doing my research, the only train that pops up on my end is the Interurban Car 523, I believe. So I wanted to ask you guys if there is a specific train that is, that we would want to reference. I know there's a train I noticed on like the bench outside of City Hall. There's an outline of a train that looks completely different. I'm not sure what the name of that train was, but just wanted to hear your feedback on what specific train I should focus on. This is just from my research. Guess it was the last surviving Seattle Tacoma electric train car. And then lastly, for the double L's, this was from the most recent feedback that I got, that we would want, the dancing horses featuring Duvall days. And so that's what we have here. We have mariachi, we have people dancing, and then the horse that's dancing as well. Any questions about the letters? Consumer little.
Any questions? Any discussion?
I think the V could maybe be a little bit sharper.
The V, you said?
Yeah, it is. I mean, just as a letter, because I know it's Duvall, I get it, but part of my brain is going, oh,
Yes, you mean the angle of the V, right?
yeah.
Sure, I can do that.
Was the piano or the musical piece. I also had a note about the train car. It's my understanding that the interurban was a streetcar as opposed to a train. But I bet if you look up the Northwest Railway Museum,
Yes.
that's the museum in North Bend and Snoqualmie, and so they have actual trains you can go look at. But they also have a lot of train buffs who work at the bookstore there, or who did. I'm sure would be happy to answer your questions and probably tell you exactly what trains might be involved.
Yeah, this was confusing because on the image of this train specifically, it had the numbers 523. However, it does say interurban car. So I was confused as to what the image was referencing to. But I will take a look at the Northwest Railroad Museum. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think it's Northwest Railway Museum.
So call me, you cannot miss it.
It's in Snoqualmie, Brenda.
Okay.
And I think the trains that came through this area would be, the Northern Pacific. Through here, that's what, it's probably which has it has goat on it, so circle with the goat.
Yeah.
So Great Northern Pacific was definitely a train that came through here.
Okay.
And they likely would have been steam engines.
Yes. Sounds good. I will go ahead and update the image of the train then.
Thank you.
And then this is my last slide. So
Oh, I'm sorry, I had I didn't realize, I thought we had more to go. One of the only things that I'm a little, I would say concerned, but that I have a question about would be the two Ls, we want to do Duvall days and we have the horses there, but we also have at the same time in the other L, and the only reason I know this is because my cousin does it, we have a ballet folklorico dancer. So having those two together don't really say Duvall days to me. They say more ballet folklorico. That said, that might just be me because I have that background. Does that seem to come across to you, to anyone else, is that?
It does to me, but also I don't know how we would get across Duvall days,
Yeah.
you know, other than.
I mean, I think, cause you know, when you see the horses and those ladies with their dresses, it's so magnificent to have them too, you know.
Okay, in that case, I have no problems. Like I said, I just have a very intimate relationship with the ballet folklorico, having family and that's what it says to me. But so that's fine, thanks.
I really appreciate the consistency of the colors
Oh,
and how
yes.
they're so harmonious and warm.
thank you.
I'm a little, the bit on the right, the welcome home, and then the river with the fish. It just looks a little crowded
Okay,
with the fish under the hearts.
sure. That's a
But I love the heart, so, but yeah, so it just looks.
Maybe lose the fish, is that,
No, I
but
like
keep the
the
river?
fish. Maybe move the fish over to the right or far left.
You have
Okay.
open space there.
Yeah.
On the left of the page.
That's a great, I was just gonna bring up the fish. So another element that we discussed is having the indigenous aspect part of the mural as well. And so that's why the fish were added later on. That's the Tulalip, I believe it's the Tulalip fish. So that's why I added them to the stream where it says welcome home. And then the overall mural actually ends right, I'm sorry, my screen. It actually ends right after the home. You see that where it has.
Yes, okay.
So the picture that I was just showing, this one right here, was to mainly just show the background paint for the whole wall, because I know that was another discussion that we had. But what we can do is just move the fish, like you said, over to the right, or now even
To the left, move it to 100 readings from.
Or add another fish.
We would have to put a river there if we were gonna.
Well, yeah, sorry, fish and river in my mind would be one. Yeah, maybe move the river or add more river and put the fish on the other side.
I see. So kind of moving.
If you wrap it to the edge there,
Yeah.
the river would flow to the edge, going to that edge.
Oh,
I
going
think
both
would
ways.
make, no, to the right, our right,
Instead of
would make sense because it's flowing and visually it would make sense to do that, because you have that green space that could continue with green paint if you were doing that versus trying to squish it. Even if the wall is angled, it still is visually, you could see that the river was going to go around a corner and then there was the fish.
No, that's a great idea. I think if we have the background painted, I can move the stream to the right of Welcome Home, so it kind of frames the whole design. And then wouldn't look as crowded there.
My suggestion would be with the fish, to move the smaller fish to the left side of the H instead of the other side. Since you have that little dead space there, the crowding between the H, the heart, and little serif at the bottom of the H just kind of packs a lot right in there, and moving that fish out would open that up a little bit and cover up that open space in the river left to the H.
I mean, I can play around with the placement of the stream once we move it to the right of Welcome Home and moving the placement of the fish. I can send a couple different scenarios to Rita, for example, and then we can decide on what's like the best placement. But yeah, I agree. It does look a little crowded there, mainly in this image where the background is just extended out versus this image where this was just mainly what I was working with. You know what I mean?
Does that then become a budget concern, getting more paint to extend the background on the right, and also for Brenda's time, do we have?
We don't wanna extend it much more because we gave Brenda, you know, some pretty specific guidance on how much space she had to work with in the budget for it. So, you know, minor modifications, but not extending it, you know, far onto the other side. I mean, this is one design element that will be on, you know, paint. But I think we're getting close to the modifications we can make in budget.
And then on top of that, we're eventually, and possibly in the future, going to add more stuff to the panels around it too.
Right, okay.
I see.
But otherwise, I'm very happy with this design. It is absolutely lovely.
I sent a copy of this presentation to Rita too, so you guys can see it close up personally, but I mean, yes, please give me any other feedback, whether you have that now or later as well. I'm more than happy to make any adjustments.
Before we let her go, any questions or comments for the artist?
No, it looks really good, Brenda, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I guess just
I'm so excited for this. It's so beautiful.
I was talking about this earlier. I drive by this wall every day and it's gonna be nice to see that every day.
I'm so excited. Again, I thank you guys so much for, you know, trusting me with this and choosing my work. I guess just more now for timing, just because again, now since it is the fall and headed towards winter, it is a little tricky with the rain and weather. So I know that can be a later discussion, but that's just something that, you know, we can plan for later of, okay, with just practically what the timing looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of look at the weather, pick a dry spell and a series of dry spells.
Yeah, yeah, and we can link up personally too to discuss that.
Quick question, how soon are we looking at having the work started on this?
Well, so as soon as Brenda finalizes a design, we can get Public Works out there to prep it, but. You know, we had kind of planned for, you know, having it up by the end of the year. I think it's just super weather dependent.
Okay,
Yeah,
So, you know, we'll just see.
it gets done when it gets done.
I think that's probably now that we're into rainy season, it'll get done when it gets done.
Because this is the one where the community comes up, works on it.
Yeah, so I think Brenda, if I remember correctly, you said you're gonna need at least a couple of weeks to just get your design on. Brenda's gonna do some of the intricate painting and leave for the community space that won't impact the design as much. So Brenda needs time to prep the wall, we need time to prep the wall, and then Brenda's work, and Brenda, a couple weeks, right?
I would say for a mural this large, yeah, I would say a couple weeks to 3 weeks, mainly because I'm kind of just looking at my design here. Areas here where it's pretty simple, like the greetings from, that can even be an area where the community can really work on and kind of have little areas of the green that they can paint. It's just, again, where it gets to these intricate designs where I would need to get a base layer, have the community paint, and then go back myself to kind of do the touch-ups and clean. It's kind of really hard to tell exactly how long that is going to take, but just from once the wall is ready, I personally would probably need at least 2 weeks to just get things ready, outlined for the community to then come paint. And then once the community is done, then I need to come back for maybe another week to do all those touch-ups. So sorry, that's kind of hard to tell with timeline, giving you specific timelines, but yeah, we'll be starting with 2 weeks. A couple weeks myself.
Yeah, when we talk to Brenda, I mean, this is also, you know, her art, and so we want to make sure that it looks like art.
right.
Yeah. So, we're gonna, you know, Rita and I will certainly be there. We're gonna seek volunteers to kind of sit with and with Brenda to kind of do a map of, you know, the colors where, but it's not gonna be the entire mural for the community. I mean, it's gonna be, it'll be interactive in a good amount, but not the stuff that requires some real finesse and artistry, so.
It sounds like maybe we should schedule for like late spring. mean, I hate to do it, but logistically, but when we say we'll see, like, oh, maybe we'll get one of those beautiful Novembers where it's warm, but can Brenda do that? Is your schedule that flexible? Then how long?
Historically, I remember the beginning of fall being the worst weather.
Mhm.
And then in the early part of the year, it gets nicer for a while.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we have really dry, nice
Yeah.
Januaries and
Right.
sometimes it's a bit.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it's hard, starting November to December, it's so hard to get people to do anything. Because they're just so busy with holiday.
well, and that's the other thing, I mean, the community, you know, starts also leaving town. We have some special events that we're running, so I think practically, if we have a lovely January and February, that's probably maybe into March, yeah.
Because January, everybody's cleared, no one's traveling.
Yeah,
They're all here,
yeah.
Here's that.
They need
Exactly.
something to get going again.
Yeah, to March again, like, okay, just spring forward.
Would Public Works be able to put like tents up? So that we could keep everything dry? Cause I bet people would come out for cocoa even on an ugly January day, and be like, yes.
Well, that's kind of, so Rita and I have been talking about making it an actual event, so we're gonna shut down the street, we're gonna put tents up. We're gonna see about bringing like a coffee cart or a cocoa cart, if we can do it in the winter, I mean, that changes as we get into spring, but we're gonna make it into an event for the community. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then for like the painting part, when I worked on a huge mural with the community, we had a few artists with the people.
Yeah.
So it'd be like 3 or 4 artists working with the people to, here, you're gonna paint this section and supervising, you know? So-
Yes, we did make that commitment to bring it, and it would be highly supervised work.
So, I mean, I think we can have artist volunteers that can, you know, do help with even the finer stuff there that you'll be managed well, I think.
So it's not just all toddlers and paint colors.
No,
Yeah.
well, but you'll have probably a lot of teens who come out.
I'll bet you.
Yeah, I would love to coordinate with any local artist to delegate certain areas for the community to paint. That's a great idea.
Anything further?
Just one thing to note too with the cold weather when it comes to painting. So paint tends to not dry when it is pretty cold. So that's another just element to consider when it is a little cold. It's just really tricky to paint. And then also with a mural project, what I personally would not like is to start on a project, but then have, you know, a couple weeks of rain where then I can't work on it because then I'm gonna be coming back to a mural that maybe is, you know, gets dirty from the rain or whatever the case is. So again, we're just gonna have to see what the weather is like, and let's say, even if it's sometime early next spring, I think that even might be a little better. So we're guaranteed, you know, a couple weeks to a month of just good warm weather. Just because again, we don't know with what the wall will look like if I kind of pause everything and then come back to it. So just one other thing to consider.
Whatever is best for you in the mural life, I'm pretty sure we'll all agree with.
I mean, yeah, it's just tricky with the winter, but maybe we'll have a super dry winter and spring. So
They're not expecting it. According to my public works director, he's preparing for a nasty winter.
oh, okay, great.
So I think realistically, I think we're gonna need spring.
The good news is you used a lot of warm colors and we'll be ready for warm with that. So,
And no one wants to be out there when it's like snowing and can't weather, so yeah, I can wait as well. So
do you have anything for us at this point? Like questions for us?
I mean, no, I'm so glad that I could get this first you know, design out for you guys. I will do the touches and updates and send out a copy to Rita. And if we want to meet like this in the next couple of weeks or in the next meeting, I'd be happy to do so. But thank you guys again for taking the time to look through my design and to meet with me here. So I truly appreciate it.
Real quick, I think our best bet would be to have her send staff versions of the design and email them to us, and we can say we like this one, like this one. And then just send them back to you.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
I can do that.
Well, thank you for stopping by. We super appreciate the update. We love what you're doing and we're looking forward, I specifically am looking forward to driving past that every day.
Thank you guys again. Have a great meeting.
You too, thanks, Brenda.
All right, next order of business is the artist selection for the Duvall market mural. I believe everyone had their votes mailed in. They just really need to be tabulated at this point. I know that Commissioner Tozer selected a preference, but didn't actually fill out the vote. So I feel that his preference should go as one of those votes, if you don't mind. So do we have a tabulation on this?
Yes, so there was 6 votes for Alexander Kimball's design and 1 for the art team from Cedar Crest.
Okay, and Alexander Kimball's was the like dark green one
Yeah.
with the different birds.
Yeah, 1 second, I have it over here.
It was beautiful.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, now, where did green come from?
Been
Been a long day. I'm happy with this design and I think this is the one we should go with. We all agree? Do I need to make a motion for that or just general agreement?
I did speak to Mayor Pro Tem and she was so delighted that we had more than one submission. And so we are going to try to figure out, other opportunities for students who weren't selected to maybe to do a utility wrap or something. So that we can make sure that we, and when we notify the students, Rita, I'll help you write an email that says, we'd like to invite student submissions, because the others, I mean, they were lovely.
They were,
Yeah.
and I was impressed with all of the kids.
Yeah.
Who showed up, and I would like to encourage them further.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was the one that voted for the group because they were lovely and it was a group, but this clearly was beautiful. Hopefully they can finish it in time. It's a big job, yeah.
And
Maybe we can get the group to help with, the first in Virginia girls.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good
And
idea.
I forget the other gal's name.
Sophia.
Sophia, yeah, she was so eager to just be working on it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good opportunity for them. Yeah, should let them know. The other thing that came to mind while I was home cooking was once we get this mural up. Remember the second part of the project is to make metal die casts of the birds. And sprinkle them around the city. And so we'll do that once this is up. But one thing I was thinking of is potentially on that second part of the project, bringing in the chamber and asking them if they would like to talk to their businesses about sponsoring one of the birds as part of a, effort to bring business to certain locations, because then we would put them as part of the scavenger hunt. For the birds throughout the city. There's a couple obviously that the city, is invested in doing, so like an Osprey at Big Rock Park, because that's where the nest is. But we thought that maybe one way to involve either, other businesses or other locations here is to seek a partnership with the chamber and ask. And we'll still do the project even if, we don't do that, but thought that that would be a nice collaboration, and then when we do the ribbon cutting on this, inviting the tribal communities to come to our ribbon cutting.
I am 100% behind that. Because it not only drives people to the businesses if they're actually hosting the items themselves, but also takes people to our parks and such, looking for stuff. This was when we were doing the plant project, considering like spreading them all around, the whole idea was to get people out there and seeing things, and that works perfectly. So I'm a huge fan of this. Any further discussion on this?
No, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna start working with students, and I don't know that we'll have more iterations from this because it's kind of a wholly baked design. Do you all want to see more proofs of this, or just let the students go at it?
It's one student, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right, this is one student, so.
I think my only request was I want to see the palette, like usually when you have a design, you have a true identifier for the picture use color ones.
I think did the student, I know the group submitted a palette, did this?
I did not see
Sophia.
Sophia and the group did, but she.
Yeah. Okay,
And that way,
No, the only concern I had was who was missing on there, the birds? There aren't any hummingbirds. And. Red-winged blackbirds. I saw thousands of them tonight. But that was just the inclusion of the species.
well, I had cut and paste from. Some organization here in the Northwest, I can't remember what it was, that listed all of the birds of the Snoqualmie Valley. On the call for artists, so they had kind of a list of birds, and then in the specific call for artists, I identified, I think, 2 or 3 that I specifically wanted in there. So that we can make sure we got an osprey, and I think a bald eagle.
Bald eagle.
Yeah.
Yes, bald eagles.
We want to go ahead and ask for extra birds on.
A couple extra, yeah. Killer, I don't even, I
is
don't think
it,
I've ever seen a.
is the design like a diminishing design? Is it?
No, it's
2 or
the
3
power of
birds?
flight.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, okay, I see, going from flight to the left.
Right,
Yeah.
although the osprey looks like it's also flying down to grab something, but osprey's always.
Yeah, the
And she also talked about on the wraparound edge that we can't see, on the Virginia Street side, doing a goose, so I'm sure.
Yes, I remember that cute.
I know, I thought it was adorable, so I'm sure she'd be amenable to putting in like a hummingbird and maybe a Steller's jay.
Do you know which specific birds you wanted on it?
Oh, me or?
Oh, wait.
Hummingbird, ruby throated hummingbirds. They're pretty rare, we have them in our backyard. And red-winged blackbird, I mean, they're not outstanding, but there are lots of them around here, and along the
So
trail.
And Steller's jay.
What's the other?
I have all.
Steller's
we do have the lead birds.
I have all of those in
Yeah.
backyard.
Yes.
And they're all eggs.
So it's-
Oh.
What's the second one though? Stella. Oh,
Jay, Jay, what?
sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah, there's some here, okay.
The only thing that I would ask of the artist is a slightly more refined version of this. This is, had very much, when I looked at it, it was very much a proof. Very, very literally broad strokes and such. I'd like to see a slightly more finished project. It's not a necessity because I trust that if you can get this far in this, that you can finish it off. But I'd like to see what they expect directly on the thing versus a concept. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just a more refined version of this, just to see what they want, not like they have to refine it as much as I just wanna see a more detailed version of it.
So palette and.
Mhm.
And I've written down the birds if you need them, but it sounds like you got them too. Anything further?
And yeah, just another question, so are we supplying the paint for them, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's part of the budget.
Okay, great, and that's why we need the palette.
I couldn't remember which ones had submitted. I knew the group one had submitted a palette.
Anything further?
I'm very happy with this design.
I am too, I love it. I loved it from the first moment I saw it.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job.
In that case, we'll move on to good of the order. Does anyone have any announcements for good of the order? No? Then I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting for October 20th, 2024 at 6:06 PM. Thank you all for coming. We'll see y'all in January.
Yeah, yeah.
Sleep in.